I guess we'll call this part two of my tribute to Bruce Lee for this past Thanksgiving, November 27th, 2025, which was Bruce Lee's birthday. He passed away at 73. You do the math. And I left out one of his movies. I was talking about his films. He only made 5 films. There was the 3 that he made in China, which was The Big Boss. It was released in the States as Fist of Fury. His next movie was in China, Fist of Fury, released in the States as The Chinese Connection. Then he made Way of the Dragon, is released in the States as Return of the Dragon, because it was released after his next movie, which was Enter the Dragon, that he made. And that was the only movie he made, here in the States, a Hollywood movie. So we had Big Boss, or AKA Fist of Fury, AKA Chinese Connection, Way of the Dragon, AKA Return of the Dragon, and then he was shooting The Game of Death. And while he was shooting that movie, he was summoned to Hollywood to make Enter the Dragon. So he stopped shooting that. He already did all the fight scenes. And then he filmed Enter the Dragon. He completed Enter the Dragon, and then, unfortunately, he passed away way too soon. So they did wind up eventually completing Game of Death, and then they released it much later. And Bruce Lee is in all the fight scenes, but they filmed around him with another actor, kind of resembled him and, filled in the gaps. So we really only have 5 feature films, 4.5 really, because Game of the Dragon wasn't complete. He didn't complete it, but there's, like I said, I'll give you the American titles. Fist of Fury, Chinese Connection, Enter the Dragon, Return of the Dragon, and Game of Death. Those are the Bruce Lee, martial arts movies. A handful, but they left a hell of an impact. To this day, everyone knows who Bruce Lee is. And his son, Brandon Lee, who really wanted to be a serious actor. He didn't want to be a martial arts action star. He wanted to be a legit actor. And he wound up making a few movies. I think he also made only like 5 films. And mostly they were action films. His last one, like Bruce Lee, would Enter the Dragon. Brandon's last movie, The Crow, was a very popular movie. And it's got this cult following, it's almost as popular as Enter the Dragon. They're both very popular. And then Brandon, while he was shooting that movie, got killed. He got shot accidentally, supposedly. The gun they didn't know was really loaded. There was a gun on the set, whatever, and he wound up really getting shot. And Bruce Lee was only 32 years old. Brandon was only 28. So they both died too young. I mean, The Curse of the Dragon. There's a documentary called The Curse of the Dragon. That he was cursed. Bruce Lee was cursed. I don't know. And of course, there were rumors that he really did die. He was killed by the Chinese mafia because they were upset that he brought the martial arts to the States and started teaching non-Asians, non-Chinese, their way of fighting, of defending themselves, and they didn't like that, and maybe they even took it out on his son. Who knows? But anyway, if what really happened, what they say happened, both Bruce Lee and his son died, accidental deaths. And it's a shame, because had Bruce Lee lived, even his son Brandon, especially Bruce Lee would Enter the Dragon, he was a superstar after that movie was completed. And had he lived, he would have been the biggest action star to this day. I'm convinced of that. Bigger than Stallone and Schwarzenegger. He would have been the biggest and the best. And he led the way for others like Jackie Chan. We still would have had Jackie Chan, because Jackie Chan had his own style. He wasn't copying Bruce Lee. Like after Bruce Lee died, there was all those Bruce Lee clones, Bruce Lee spelled his name Lee. There was a Bruce Lee, Lee, a Bruce Lee, a Bruce Liu. There was all these guys trying to cash in on Bruce Lee phenomenon, Bruce Lee's fame, But had Bruce Lee lived, he would have been the biggest action star ever. I mean, to this day, he is, after, having such a short life and only making 5 films. Just imagine had he lived. And the same with his son after he did The Crow. He would have been a big star. That would have been the movie that put him on the map. And we lost them both much too soon. But at least we have what we have, and we're grateful for that. And Bruce Lee, short life, he left behind a hell of a legacy. He was an innovator. He broke down a lot of barriers for other Asian actors to follow. That's why we have Jackie Chan. And like I said, had Bruce Lee lived, we would have still had Jackie Chan, because Jackie Chan has got his own style. He's more comedic. Bruce Lee was the serious martial artist. I mean, he was the serious action star, And, well, I just hope there's a heaven. And if there is, maybe Bruce Lee's up there teaching people the martial arts like he did when he was here. So anyway, once again, this past Thanksgiving was Bruce Lee's birthday. Happy heavenly birthday, Bruce.